Personality of Godhead. Therefore, well, I can just tell you, every day when I'm here and I come and have darshan of the deities, I look to see if the little tiger's tooth, little piece is there. It's there today. It wasn't there a couple of days ago. But anyway, it's there today, and it was, I think, there yesterday too. Because my maternal grandparents left me some money in their will, and with part of it, I bought that. So they, and I think of them, sometimes I remember them, they were my grandparents. They were very pleasant and so on. And I feel happy that they're getting some benefit because it's their money. Yeah, they're getting some benefit because it's real. It's not plastic or, it's the real thing. Yeah. The gold is, I think, 18 karat. But anyway, yes, so we when we're doing the deity worship, we have to really do it very nicely. Not just very nicely, but as nicely as possible, because it's the law. And even though we, by upbringing and our previous experience, we are lacking in so many ways, and so therefore our best, what is actually the best we're just capable of, may not be that good really, but whatever it is, we got to do it. And as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita chapter 9 verse 22, that I carry what they lack and preserve what they have, so the service will be accepted through parampara. So therefore, here Narada Muni is recommending, having just instructed Dhruva in the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, he's saying that you can meditate on doing the offering while chanting Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, or the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, some bona fide mantras. You can sing some nice bhajan. The Lord is present in these. Yes. So therefore the bottom line ultimately is that everyone can worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There can be no disqualification other than in consciousness. That's all. There can be no disqualification like in terms of poverty, just being too poor to do these things. Prabhupada, in commenting on Bhagavad Gita chapter 9 verse 26, very famous verse, Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam Gyome Bhaktya Prayachati. So Srila Prabhupada makes the point in the purport there that who is so poor that they can't just find a flower growing somewhere? No, unless you're just totally physically handicapped, you can just go out and find a flower somewhere. And anyway, like that. So So therefore there's no disqualification in the process of devotional service. The only possible disqualification is of consciousness. And that may be, it may be a disqualification actually. Yes, because as described here, in the verse itself, Narada Muni says that one should follow in the footsteps of previous devotees regarding how to worship the Lord with the prescribed paraphernalia. So that means that you cannot just, if your consciousness is not right, and for example, I mean, there's a number of ways your consciousness may not be right, but one of the ways that your consciousness may not be right is if you don't know what is offerable and what is not offerable to the Lord. Some people may think, because there in that verse 926 in Bhagavad Gita, some people who are just not properly informed about the standards of worship may think that you can just offer anything to the Lord, like meat. If your consciousness is such that meat, you accept meat eating and you eat meat and you think it's nice, so then when you hear about offering something to the Lord with love, then you may think of your favorite meat. But that's not acceptable. I know Giriraj Maharaj was giving the example many years ago. It was actually 91, I think, 91, in the VIHE in Vrindavan, when it comes to the sort of seed verse of the Paribhas Sutra of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion, and Yabhilashita Shunyam Gyarna Karamad Yanavritam, Anukulyena Krishnanu Shilanam Bhaktir Uttama. It's a definition of pure devotional service. Uttama Bhakti means beyond material influence. So Anukulyena, Anukul means favorable, and it's explained there are two types of favorability. One is that your attitude in serving the Lord, if your activity is to be Uttama Bhakti, pure devotional service, then your attitude in the service must actually, your attitude must be favorable to the Lord and to the service. If you're doing something for the Lord, but actually your attitude is bad, resentful, why do I have to do this? Why couldn't they get someone else? And I don't like doing this service. It's an unfavorable attitude. So at least it cannot be pure devotional service. But then there's a second part to favorability, which is that it has to actually please the Lord. So the example is given of Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, who fought with the Lord, and the Lord enjoyed it. But their attitudes were unfavorable. They wanted to kill the Lord. They weren't just sort of sparring with him, for practice or something like that. They were really trying to kill him. So because their attitude was unfavorable, even though the Lord was pleased by it, it cannot be considered, well, even devotional service, actually. And Giriraj Maharaj was telling the story of an experience he had in Mumbai, in Bombay, in the very early days. On Prabhupada's instruction, he was going out and enrolling people as life members. So he found this one man, businessman, kind of affluent person, who was very favorable. When the man saw, a Hare Krishna devotee has come. Oh, please come in and sit down, and just very nice in that way. And then they're talking, and he was happy to become a member. And he asked, "Can I give a donation?" Those are the type of, if you're trying to raise funds, those are the types of people you want to meet. So, "Can I give a donation? Is it all right?" Then his one assistant came in with some tea, as in tea. And he pulled out a little silver casket, like just a little thing, opened it up. It was full of tulsi leaves. And he put tulsi leaves in with the tea and stirred it up and said, "Yes, whenever I drink tea, I have to put tulsi in it because tulsi is so dear to Krishna." So, but it's not favorable. Krishna does not accept tea. For anyone who likes tea, that's the bad news for today. Krishna does not accept. You cannot offer Krishna tea because he will not accept it, but rather he will feel, unhappy. So this man is, first of all, kind of offering tea, but putting tulsi in it. So, obviously it's not as bad as a number of things that could be done, but still it's in the category of not following in the footsteps of the previous devotees. It's not authorized. In Krishna consciousness, this is such an important point. Authorization, bona fidity, and before one comes to the level upon which one is capable of doing devotional service spontaneously, actually, according to the definition of what is spontaneous devotional service, which is not that you're just very enthusiastic. And it's interesting, in Nectar of Devotion, there are descriptions of Hanuman, and he's enthusiastic. He's just so enthusiastic to serve, you can't stop him. You just can't stop him serving. But his service is not considered spontaneous. What is actually spontaneous service is when you are serving not because the Lord is the Lord, but because of your relationship. Either a conjugal relationship, parental, friendly, particularly these relationships. And you're not doing it because, he's the Lord. What can we do? We have to serve him. That is the mood of Hanuman. So therefore he's not in spontaneous devotional service, raganuga. He is in Vaidhi Bhakti, according to the rules and regulations, because Lord Ram is God, generally. And therefore, when Lord Ram, towards the end, when Lord Ram, being very pleased with Hanuman, when Lord Ram embraced him, as if you find many pictures of Ram, Hanuman, Milap, the embrace of Ram and Hanuman. But Hanuman is feeling very embarrassed that my Lord is embracing me. My gosh, why is he doing that? Whereas the cowherd boys, the parents, the gopis, they love to be embraced by the Lord and to embrace him, because they're seeing him in terms of their rasa and not in terms of being the Lord. So, but we, on our level, we have to very carefully follow in the footsteps of the previous devotees regarding how to worship the Lord. This is how Prabhupada's translated the verse. Yes, even though we can do it mentally, and it's always good while you're doing it to chant some mantra or mantras. So like this, Narada Muni is instructing Dhruva how to practice this particular form. It's like a hybrid of devotional service and Ashtanga yoga. Devotional service, that's Narada's mercy, so Dhruva can become a devotee. But Ashtanga yoga, so that Dhruva can get, or at least think, that he's doing what he needs to do in order to fulfill his material desire of getting a great kingdom. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any comment? Question? Oh, Shri Prabhu.
It seems like it would be harder to do it just mentally. All other days, yesterday in the verse, I forgot to mention it.
It's on.
When it said in the verse that we chant the mantra 3 times a day, one
Right.
said he would chant 3 times a day. He said, no, it's the Gayatri mantra.
Yeah.
But it must be harder to do that.
Yes. There are 3 levels of difficulty, ease or difficulty. One is, the easiest is to do something. Then what's the next? The next is to talk about something. And the most difficult is to think about something. Actually, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, briefly explores that point in Madhurya Kadambini. Yeah, talking about, that a devotee can be considered to be on, I actually forget which level it is, but a certain level, if he's able to perform service mentally. If he's not, then he's not on that level. Yeah. Even though he may be able to do it physically. He was a very advanced devotee, that, in Nectar of Devotion. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Smita Krishna Prabhu. Sure, sure. Well, you know, the thing is this, because of our material natures, we are more inclined, at this stage, we are more inclined to certain types of activity and less inclined to others. So that comes out in the early stages of devotional service. Having said that, you know, we don't understand even our material natures completely. So there are things in Krishna consciousness, activities, which we're not familiar with. We're not familiar with. But by material nature, we can become attracted to them, and we may actually become like cooking. You know, so many men and so many women these days can't cook and have never thought of cooking, but then they become devotees and they find, hey, it's fun. I like cooking. So that's one possibility, that some part of your material nature is being engaged in whatever the devotional service is. And yeah, and you find, oh, I like this. Yeah. So that's one part of it. But then also there's the part that as we engage in devotional service, we actually get spiritual taste. We're not on the level of what is our eternal rasa, but we're actually getting a real spiritual taste and pleasure from doing a particular service. And therefore we like, when the opportunity arises, we'll try and get that service. Yeah. I remember when I was very new devotee, because before Krishna consciousness, I had driven a lot, motor cars, really a lot, and you know, all sorts of motor cars. I'd road tested motor cars for newspapers, and yeah. So an opportunity came to drive a devotee, Hari Vilas Prabhu actually, from London down to Dover to take the boat across the channel, because he was based in France. So I enthusiastically offered to drive, and I drove. Yeah. So it was engaging my material nature in something I liked doing, and I was very happy. But Hari Vilas Prabhu, I mean, he's an amazing preacher. I don't know if you've ever met him. Boy, I tell you, he can just talk about Krishna all day. And he did. He just talked about Krishna all day, like as we drove down for 2 or 3 hours or something like that. Anyway, but then the other thing is you get some spiritual taste. It's not just facilitating your material nature, but you actually get some spiritual taste from doing the service. So therefore, you know, you'll prefer to do it. But the thing is this, that even in the early stages, we should have the conviction, the acceptance at least, within our hearts, that whatever service there is to be done, it's devotional service. It's not material. So therefore I must be ready to do anything if, you know, it really seems to be required, even if it's not exactly what I would normally be inclined to do. Yeah. How does that sound? Hare Krishna. Okay. Haribol. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
So many things that are good for the mind as we get older. Also, to keep it from decline, you have to study things.
Yeah.